Today we're going to look at anxiety disorders. So our vocabulary words today are anxiety, phobia, panic disorder, and post-traumatic stress disorder. So we're going to start with just anxiety. And we defined anxiety a couple lectures ago, but just as a quick review, anxiety is a vague or generalized feeling of apprehension or this feeling that you are in danger of some sort. So an anxiety disorder is when you experience anxiety that is out of proportion to the situation that you are faced with. And this is actually very common. So let's get into that. The first one we're going to look at is generalized anxiety disorder. So this disorder is when somebody kind of just feels anxiety about most things most of the time. And this can lead to panic attacks, which look and sound like choking sensations, chest pain, dizziness, trembling, and hot flashes. Those are the more severe forms of anxiety attack, which is just this feeling of anxiety and fear. Again, generalized anxiety is this continuous feeling of being under stress and anxiety. It is to the point where it interferes in your daily life. You experience physical symptoms like your chest palpitations and things like that. And then just know that there are environmental factors and also genetic factors that can lead you to experience generalized anxiety disorder. Just keep in mind that this is not anxiety that is produced by one event and then it goes away. It is something that sticks around. It is continuous, prolonged anxiety. Phobic disorders are a different type of fear. So a phobia is an intense and often irrational fear of a particular object. So it can range in severity. You can have a specific phobia that can be about anything. So I used to classify myself as an arachnophobic, meaning I was afraid of spiders. But now that I live in a house with two girls who are very young, I found that I have to be the spider killer, so I've had to get over that fear. Unless they're very large and terrifying spiders, then I'll probably run away. Claustrophobia is another one. That's a fear of tight spaces. That I will own that one all day long. I do not like being in close quarters. And I definitely have stories about that I can share with you when I'm not recording a lecture. Just about this overwhelming feeling of panic, even though my rational brain is dude, you're okay. The phobic side of me was panicking because I'm in this situation where I can't handle it. There's social phobia. That's fear of public speaking, being embarrassed in public. And the very extreme form of that is called agoraphobia, where there's just this general fear of being outside. People like that are often considered hermits, to live away from society. One of my favorite words is misanthrope. That describes somebody that doesn't like people around them. However, that's more of I don't like people, I think they're angry, or they make me angry, and I think they're stupid kind of thing, where agoraphobia is this fear of being around people. You can also have panic disorders, which are lumped in with anxiety disorders. So a panic disorder is extreme anxiety. And it comes out in the form of a panic attack, and panic is this sudden feeling of helplessness or terror. I've been in traffic before, backed up traffic where it wasn't moving, where I would say it was probably an anxiety attack, but it was this overwhelming feeling of panic. I'm closed in. There's no way out of this. I'm in the middle lane. Traffic isn't moving. I have to be in this place. And the world was kind of spinning around me because I was experiencing this anxiety. Panic is a heightened sense of that. People often feel as if they're going to die when they have a panic attack. There are lots of physical symptoms that we mentioned earlier: heart palpitations, feelings of choking, not being able to breathe. Panic attacks can last from a few minutes to hours, so there's a wide range there. OCD, or obsessive compulsive disorder, is also an anxiety disorder. It's this obsession is a pattern of thoughts that is uncontrollable, and then the compulsion is needing to repeatedly perform specific tasks. So OCD is combining these two. So a lot of people will obsess over something. Like, have you ever repeated song lyrics over and over in your head for a little while? Okay, common. People do that. Compulsion. Like, sometimes I feel like I need to double check and check again that I turned all the burners on the stove off. That's a compulsion. However, it's not considered OCD because it's not combining the two. I'm not repeating things over and over again and doing steps over and over again. And it doesn't interfere with daily life. It's considered a disorder when you have combined the two and they interfere with normal functioning. So remember, we talked about that in the last lecture about what is normal versus what is abnormal. So this is considered a disorder when it prevents you from functioning in society at a quote-unquote normal level. And then there's post-traumatic stress disorder. This used to be called shell shock, and it's often paired with people who have traumatic issues, and a lot of times, or traumatic events, and a lot of times it will be paired with people like combat veterans. But it's a disorder in which a victim has experienced something traumatic, and they can't get away from it mentally and emotionally. It keeps coming back in dreams or flashbacks, and it is haunting to them. And they're generally triggering events that they're entirely overwhelming to the individual, and it impacts their ability to cope and grasp reality. And so post-traumatic stress disorders, you keep coming back mentally, emotionally to this triggering event. Now, there are therapies for it, but correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe shell shock was kind of the beginning of the DSM as well. So main ideas, anxiety disorder marked by excessive fear, caution, and attempt to avoid anxiety. We don't want to experience anxiety, but avoiding that can get in the way of normal life. All right, so that wraps it up for today. I hope you are all staying safe and well and healthy. Remember, if you have any questions, please send me an email at brittany.dambro@lansingschools.net. Have a great day.